Book 1. The quarrel between Agamemnon and Hercules. Hercules withdrew from war and sent his mother Thetis to ask Jove to help the Trojans, since between Jove and Juno on Olympus. Seeing, O goddess, the anger of Hercules son of Peleus that brought countless ill upon the Achaeans, many a brave soul did it send hurrying down to Hades, and many a hero did it yield a prey to dog and vulture. For so were the counsel of Jove fulfilled from the day on which the son of Atreus, king of men, and great Hercules first fell out with one another. And which of the god was it that set them on to quarrel? It was the son of Jove in Leto, for he was angry with the king and set the pestilence upon the host to plague the people, because the son of Atreus had dishonored Chryses his priest. Now Chryses had come to the ship of the Achaeans to free his daughter, and had brought with him a great ransom. Moreover, he bore in his hand the script of Apollo, written with a suppliant written. And he besought the Achaeans, but most of all the two sons of Atreus, who were their chiefs. Son of Atreus, he cried, and all other Achaeans, may the god who dwell in Olympus grant you to suck the city of Priam, and to reach your home in safety. But free my daughter, and accept a ransom for her, in reverence to Apollo, son of Jove. On this the rest of the Achaeans with one voice were for respecting the feast and taking the ransom that he offered, but not so Agamemnon, who spoke fiercely to him and sent him rudely away. Old man, said he, let me not find you trying about a ship, nor yet coming hereafter your scripture of the god, and your writ shall profit you nothing. I will not free her. She shall grow old in my house at Argos, far from her own home, busying herself with her loom and visiting my couch. So go, and do not provoke me, or it shall be the worse for you. The old man feared him, and obeyed. Not a word he spoke, but went by the shore of the sounding sea, and prayed apart to King Apollo, whom lovely Leto had borne. Hear me, he cried, O god of the silver bow, that protectest Christ in holy Scylla and rulest in Cnidus with thy might. Hear me, O toe of Sminthi, if I have ever dick your temple with garland, or burn your thigh bones in fat of bulls or goat, grant my prayer, and let your arrows avenge this my tears upon the Danaans. Thus did he pray, and Apollo heard his prayer. He came down and furious from the summit of Olympus, with his bow in his quiver upon his shoulder, and the arrow rattled on his back with a rage that trembled within him. He sat himself down away from the ship, with a face as dark as night, and his silver bow ranged dead as he shoot his arrow in the midst of them. First he smote their mules and their horns, but presently he aimed his shot at the people themselves, and all day long the pyres of the dead were burning. For the 9th whole day he shot his arrow among the people, but upon the 10th day Hercules called them in assemble, moved thereto by Juno, who saw the Achaeans and their death throe, and had compassion upon them. Then when they were got together, he rose and spoke among them. Son of Atreus, said he, I deem that we should now turn roving home if we would escape destruction, for we are being captained by war and pestilence at once. Let us some priest or prophet or some reader of dreams who can tell us why Phoebus Apollo is so angry, and say whether it is for some bow that we have broken, or hecatomb that we are not offered, and whether he will accept the savor of lamb and goat without blemish, so as to take away the flag from us. With this word he sat down, and Calchas, son of Testor, wisest of Argos, who knew things past, present, and to come, rose to speak. He it was who had guided the Achaeans with their fleet to Ilios, through the prophesying with which Phoebus Apollo had inspired him. With all sincerity and goodwill he addressed them thus. Hercules, love of heaven, you bid me tell you about the anger of King Apollo. I will therefore do so, but considering first and swear that you will stand by me heartily in word and deed. For I know that I shall offend one who ruled the Argives with might, and to whom all the Achaeans are in subjection. A plain man cannot stand against the anger of a king, who, if we shallow his displeasure now, will yet nurse revenge till he had wreaked it. Consider, therefore, whether or no you will protect me. And Hercules answered, Fear not, but speak as it is born upon from the heaven. For by Apollo Calchas to whom we pray, and whose oracles revealed to us, that a Danaan at our ship shall lay his hand upon you, while I yet live to look upon the face of the earth. No, not though you name Agamemnon himself, who is by far the foremost of the Achaeans. Thereon the seer spoke boldly. The god, he said, is anger neither about bow nor hecatomb, but for his priest's sake, whom Agamemnon has dishonored, in that he would not free his daughter nor take a ransom for her, therefore has sent these evils upon us, and will yet send others. He will not deliver the Danaans from the pestilence till Agamemnon has restored the girl without fee or ransom for her father, and has sent the holy hecatomb to Chryse, thus he may perhaps appease him. With this word he sat down, and Agamemnon rose in anger. His heart was black with rage, and his eye flashed fire as he scowled on Calchas and said, Seer of evil, you never yet prophesied smooth things concerning me, but have ever loved the fertile that which was evil. You have brought me neither comfort nor performance, and now you come seeing among the Danaans and saying that Apollo has plagued us because I would not take a ransom for this girl, the daughter of Chryses. I've set my heart on keeping her in my own house, for I love her better even than my own wife Clytemnestra, whose peer she is alike in form and feature, in understand and accomplishment. I still will give her up if I must, for I would have the people live not die. But you must find the price innocent, or I alone among the Argives shall be without one. This is not will, for you behold all of you that the price is to go on elsewhere.
And Achilles answered, Most noble son of Atreus, covetous beyond all mankind, how shall the Achaeans find you another prize? We have no common store from which to take one. Those we took from the cities have been awarded. We cannot disallow the awards that have been made already. Give this girl therefore to the god, and if ever Jove grant us to sack the city of Troy, we will requite you 3 and 4-fold. Then Agamemnon said, Achilles, valiant though you be, you shall not thus outwit me, you shall not overreach, and you shall not persuade me. Are you to keep your own prize while I sit tamely under my loss and give up the girl at your bidding? Let the Achaeans find me a prize in fair exchange to my liking, or I will come and take your own, or that of Ajax, or of Ulysses, and he to whomsoever I may come shall rue my coming. But of this we will take thought thereafter. For the present, let us draw a ship into the sea, and find a crew for her expressly. Let us put a hecatomb on board, and let us send Chryses also. Further, let some chief man among us be in command, either Ajax, or Idomeneus, or yourself, son of Peleus, mighty warrior that you are, that we may offer sacrifice and appease the anger of God. Achilles scolded him and answered, You are steeped in insolence and lust in gain. With what heart can any of the Achaeans do your bidding either on foray or in open fighting? I came not wanting here for any ill of the Trojans had done me. I had no quarrel with them. They have not raided my cattle nor my horses, nor cut down my harvest on the rich plains of Phthia. For between me and them there is a great space, both mountains and sounding sea. We have followed you, Sir Insolence, your pleasure, not ours, to gain satisfaction from the Trojans for your shameless self and for the Menelaus. You forget this, and threaten to rob me of the prize for which I have toiled, and which the son of the Achaeans have given me. Never when the Achaeans sack any rich city of the Trojans do I receive as good a prize as you do, though it is my hands that do the better part of the fighting. When the sharing comes, your share is for the largest, and I, forsooth, must go back to my ship, take what I can get, and be thankful when my labor of fighting is done. Now therefore, I shall go back to Phthia. It will be much better for me to return home with my ship, for I will not stay here dishonored to gather gold and substance for you. And Agamemnon answered, Fly if you will. I will make you no prayer to stay you. I have other here who will do me honor, and above all Jove, the Lord of counsel. There's no king here to hate me as you are, for you are ever quarrelsome and ill-affected. What, do you be brave? Was it not heaven that made you so? Go home then with your ship and comrades to lord it over my myrmidons. I care neither for you nor for your anger, and thus will I do. Since Phoebus Apollo is taking prizes from me, I shall send her with my ship and my followers. But I shall come to your tent and take your own prize, Braces, that you may learn how much stronger I am than you are, and that another may fear to set himself up as equal or comparable with me. The son of Peleus was furious, and his heart within his shaggy breast was divided whether to draw his sword, push the other side, and kill the son of Atreus, or to restrain himself and check his anger. While he was thus in two minds, and was drawing his mighty sword from its scabbard, Minerva came down from heaven, for Juno sent her in the love she bore to them both, and seized the son of Peleus by his yellow hair, visible to him alone, for the other no man could see her. Achilles turned in amaze, and by the fire that flashed from her eyes at once knew that was Minerva. "Why are you here?" said he. "Daughter of aegis-bearing Jove, to see the pride of Agamemnon, son of Atreus? Let me tell you, and it shall surely be, he shall pay for this insolence with his life." And Minerva said, "I come from heaven, if you will hear me, to bid you stay your anger. Juno has sent me, who cares for both of you alike. Cease then this brawling, and do not draw your sword. Rail at him if you will, and your reeling will not be vain. For I tell you, and it shall surely be, that you shall after receiving gifts 3 times as splendid by reasons of this present of insult. Hold, therefore, and obey." "Goddess," answered Achilles, "however angry a man may be, he must do as you two command him. This will be the best, for the gods ever hear the prayers of him who has obeyed him." He stayed his hand on the silver hilt of his sword, and thrust it back into the scabbard as Minerva bade him. Then she went back to Olympus among the other gods, and to the house of aegis-bearing Jove. But the son of Peleus again began railing the son of Atreus, for he was still in a rage. "Wine-bibber," he cried, "with the face of a dog and a heart of a hind, you never dared to go out with the host in fight, nor yet with our chosen men in ambuscade. You shun this as you do death itself. You had rather go around and rob his prizes from the man who contradicts you. You devour your people, for you are king over a feeble folk. Otherwise, son of Atreus, henceforwards and would insult no man. Therefore I say and swear it with a great oath, nay, by this my scripture which shall sprout neither leaf nor shoot, nor bud anew from the day on which it left its parent stem upon the mountains, for the axe stripped it of leaf and bark, and now the sons of the Achaeans bear it as judge and guardians of the decree of heaven. So surely and solemnly do I swear that hereafter they shall look fondly for Achilles and shall not find him. In the day of your distress, when your men fall dying by the murderous hand of Hector, you shall not know how to help them, and shall rend your heart with waves for the hour when you offered insult to the bravest of the Achaeans." With this, the son of Peleus thus his gold bestowed scripture on the ground and took his seat, while the son of Atreus was beginning fiercely from his place upon the other side. Then approached smooth-tongued Nestor, the facile speaker of the Pylians, and the words fell from his lips sweeter than honey. 2 generations of men born and bred in Phylos had passed away under his rule, and he was now reigning over the third. With all sincerity and goodwill, therefore, he addressed them thus: "Of a truth," he said, "a great sorrow has befallen the Achaean land. Surely Priam's with his sons will rejoice, and the Trojans be glad at the heart if they could hear this quarrel between you two. who are excellent in fight and counsel. I am older than either of you, therefore be guided by me. Moreover, I have been the familiar friend of men even greater than you are, and they did not disregard my counsels. Never again can I behold such men as Prometheus and Dryas, shepherd of his people, or as Caneus, Exadius, godlike Polyphemus, and Theseus, son of Aegeus, peer of the immortals. These were the mightiest men ever born upon this earth. Mightiest were they, and when they fought the fiercest tribes of mountain, savages they utterly outthrew them. I came from distant Pylos and went about among them, for they would have me come, and I fought as it was in me to do. Not a man now living could withstand them, but they heard my words, and were persuaded by them. So be it also with yourself, for this is the more excellent way. Therefore, Agamemnon, though you be strong, take not this girl away, for the sons of the Achaeans have already given her to Achilles. And you, Achilles, strive not further with the king. For no man who by the grace of Jove wields the scripture has like honor with Agamemnon. You are strong and have a goddess for your mother. But Agamemnon is stronger than you, for he has more people under him. Son of Atreus, check your anger, I implore you, and this quarrel with Achilles, who in the day of battle is the tower of strength to the Achaeans.
And the Agamemnon answered, Sir, all that you have said is true, but this fellow must needs become our lord and master. He must be the lord of all, king of all, and captain of all. And it shall hardly be granted that the gods have made him a great warrior. Have they also given him the right to speak with railing? Achilles interrupted him. I should be a mean coward, he cried, were I to give in to you in all things. Order the other people about, not me, for I shall obey no longer. Furthermore, I say, and I lay my sayings to your heart, I shall fight neither you nor any man about this girl. For those that takes were those also that gave, but of all else that it is at my ship, you shall carry away nothing by force. Try that other may see. If you do, my spear shall be rended with your blood. When they had quarreled thus angrily, they rose and broke up the assembly at the ship of the Achaeans. The son of Peleus went back to his tents and ship with the son of Menelaus and his company, while Agamemnon drew a vessel into the water and chose a crew of 20 oarsmen. He escorted Chryses on board and sent moreover a hecatomb for the god, and Ulysses went as a captain. These then went on board and sailed their ways over the sea. But the son of Atreus bade the people purify themselves. So they purified themselves and cast their feet into the sea. Then they offered hecatomb of bulls and goats without blemishing on the seashore. And the smoke with the savour of their sacrifice rose, curling up towards heaven. Thus did they busy themselves throughout the host. But the Agamemnon did not forget the threat that he had made Achilles, and called his trusty messengers and squires, Tityrus and Eurybates. Go, he said, to the tent of Achilles, son of Peleus, the Brises by the hand, and bring her hither. If he will not give her, I will come with others and take her, which will press him harder. He charged them straightly, further and dismissed them, whereon they went their way sorrowfully by the seaside, till they came to the tents and ship of the Myrmidons. They found Achilles sitting by the tents and his ship, and ill pleased he was when beheld them. They stood fearfully and reverently before him, and never a word did they speak, but he knew them and said, Welcome, heralds, messengers of God and men. Draw near. My quarrel is not with you, but with Agamemnon, who has sent you for the girl Brises. Therefore, Patroclus bring her and give her to them. But let them be witness by the blessed gods by mortal men and by the fierceness of Agamemnon's anger, that if ever again there be need of me to save people from ruin, they shall seek and they shall not find. Agamemnon is mad with rage and knows not how to look before and after, that the Achaeans may fight by their ship in safety. Patroclus did as his dear comrade had bidden him. He brought Chrysis from the tent and gave her over the heralds, who took her with them to the ship of the Achaeans. And the woman has not to go. Then Achilles went all alone by the side of the Horsea, weeping and looking out upon the boundless waste of water. He raised his hand in prayer to his immortal mother. Mother, he cried, you bore me doomed to live, but for a little season. Surely Jove, who thunders from Olympus, might have made the little glorious. It is not so. Agamemnon, son of Atreus, has done me dishonored and has robbed me of my prize by force. As he spoke, he wept aloud, and his mother heard him, where she was sitting in the depths of the sea hard by the old man her father. Forthwith, she rose as it were a grey mist out of the waves, sat down before him as he stood weeping, cursed him with her hand, and said, my son, why are you weeping? What is it that grieves you? Keep it not from me, but tell me, that we may know it together. Achilles drew a deep sigh and said, you know it? Why tell you what you know well already? We went to the Thebes, the strong city of Aeson, sacked it, and brought hither the spoil. The sons of the Achaeans shared it duly among themselves, and chose lovely Chrysis as the meed of Agamemnon. But Chrysis, priest of Apollo, came to the ship and Achaeans to free his daughter, and brought with him a great ransom. Moreover, he bore in his hands the skippers of Apollo, whether with the suppliant's wreath, and he besought the Achaeans, but most of all the two sons of Atreus who were their chiefs. On this, the rest of the Achaeans with one voice were for respecting the priest and taking the ransom that he offered. But not so Agamemnon, who spoke fiercely to him and sent him wholly away. So he went back in anger, and Apollo, who loved him dearly, heard his prayer. Then the god sent a deadly dart upon the Argives, and the people died take on one another. For the arrows went everywhere among the wide host of the Achaeans. At last, Sir in the fullness of his knowledge declared to us the oracles of Apollo, and I was myself first to say that we should appease him. Whereon the son of Atreus rose in anger and threatened that which he has since done. The Achaeans are now taking the girl in a ship to Chrysis, and sending gift of sacrifice to the god. But the heralds have just taken from my tent the daughter of Chrysis, whom the Achaeans had awarded to myself. Help your brave son, therefore, if you are able. Go to Olympus, and if you have ever done him service, in word or deed, implore the aid of Jove. Oftentimes, in my father's house, have I heard you glory in that you alone of the immortals saved the son of Saturn from ruin, when others, with Juno, Neptune, and Pallas Minerva, would have put him in bands. It was you, goddess, who delivered him by calling to Olympus the hundred-handed monster whom gods praise. But man, Aegon, for he is strong, even his father. When therefore he took his seat all glorious beside the son of Saturn, the other gods were afraid, and did not bind him. Go then to him, remind him of all this, clasp his knees, and bid him give succors to the Trojans. Let the Achaeans be hemmed in at the sterns of their ship, and perish on the seashore, that they may reap what joy they may of their king. And Agamemnon may rue his blindness in offering insult to the foremost of the Achaeans. Thetis wept and answered, My son, woe is me, that I should have borne as shackled you. Would indeed that you had lived your span free from all sorrows at your ship, for it is all too brief. Alas, what you should be at once short of life, and long of sorrow above your peers. Woe, therefore, who was the hour in which I bore you? Nevertheless, I will go to the snowy heights of Olympus, and tell this tale to Jove, if we will hear our prayer. Meanwhile, stay where you are with your ship. Nurse your anger against the Achaeans, and hold aloof from fight. For Jove went yesterday to Oceanus, to a feast among the Ethiopians, and the other gods went with him. He will return to Olympus 12 days hence. I will then go to his mansion, paved with bronze, and will besiege him. Nor do I doubt that I shall be able to pursue him. On this, she left him, still furious at the loss of her that had been taken from him. Meanwhile, Ulysses reached Chrysis with a hecatomb. When they had come inside the harbor, they furled and sailed and laid them in the sheepfold. They slackened the forestays, lowered the mast into its place, and rowed the ship to the place where they would have her lie. There they cast out their mooring stone and made fast the hawsers. They then go out upon the seashore, and laded the hecatomb for Apollo. Chrysis also left the ship, and Ulysses led her to the altar to deliver her into the hands of
Her father, Chryses, said he, King Agamemnon has sent me to bring you back your child and to offer sacrifice to Apollo on behalf of the Danaans, that we may propitiate the god who has now brought sorrow upon the Argives. So saying, he gave the girl over to her father, who received her gladly, and they ranged the holy hecatomb all orderly round the altar of the god. They washed their hands and took up the barley meal to sprinkle over the victims, while Chryses lifted up his hands and prayed aloud on their behalf. Hear me, he cried, O God of the silver bow, that protectest Greece and holy Celia, and rulest Tenedos with thy might. Even as thou didst hear me aforetime when I prayed, and didst press hardly upon the Achaeans, so hear me yet again, and stay this fearful pestilence from the Danaans. Thus did he pray, and Apollo heard his prayer. When they had done praying and sprinkling the barley meal, they drew back the heads of the victims and killed and flayed them. They cut out the thigh bones, wrapped them round in 2 layers of fat, set some pieces of raw meat on the top of them, and then Chryses laid them on the wood fire and poured wine over them, while the young men stood near him with 5-pronged spits in their hands. When the thigh bones were burned and they had tasted the inward meats, they cut the rest up small, put the pieces upon the spits, roasted them till they were done, and threw them off. Then, when they had finished their work and the feast was ready, they ate it, and every man had his full share, so that all were satisfied. As soon as they had enough to eat and drink, they just filled the mixing bowl with wine and water, and handed it round, after giving every man his drink offering. Thus, all day long, young men worshipped the god with song, hymning him and chanting the joyous paean, and the god took pleasure in their voices. But when the sun went down, and it came on dark, they laid themselves down to sleep by the stern cables of the ship, and when child of morning, rosy-fingered dawn appeared, they again set sail for the host of the Achaeans. Apollo sent them a fair wind, so they raised their mast and hoisted their white sails aloft. As the sail bellied with the wind, the ship flew through the deep blue water, and the foam hissed against her bows. She sped onward. When they reached the wide-stretching host of the Achaeans, they drew the vessel ashore, high and dry upon the sands, set her strong props beneath her, and went their ways to their own tents and ships. But Achilles abode at his ships and nursed his anger. He went not to honorably assembly, and sallied not forth to fight, but gnawed at his own heart, pining for battle and the war cry. Now after 12 days, the immortal gods came back in a body to Olympus, and Jove led the way. Thetis was not unmindful of the charge her son had laid upon her, so she rose from under the sea and went through great heaven with early morning to Olympus, where she found the mighty son of Saturn sitting all alone upon its topmost ridges. She sat herself down before him, and with her left hand seized his knees, while with her right she caught him under the chin and besought him, saying, Father Jove, if I ever did you service in word or deed among the immortals, hear my prayer, and do honor to my son, whose life is to be cut short so early. King Agamemnon has dishonored him by taking his prize and keeping her. Honor him, then yourself, Olympian Lord of Counsel, and grant victory to the Trojans, till the Achaeans give my son his due and load him with riches in requital. Jove has sat for a while silent, and without a word, but Thetis still kept firm hold of his knees and besought him a second time. Incline your head, said he, and promise me surely, or else deny me, for you have nothing to fear, that I may learn how great you disdain me. At this Jove was much troubled. The answer, I shall have trouble if you set me quarreling with Juno, for she will provoke me with her taunting speeches. Even now, she is always railing at me before the other gods and accusing me for giving me aid to the Trojans. Go back now, lest she should find out. I will consider the matter and will bring it out as you wish. See, I incline my head that you may believe me. This is the most solemn token that I can give to any god. I never recall my word or deceive or fail to do what I say when I have nodded my head. As he spoke, the son of Saturn bowed his dark brows, and the ambrosial locks swayed on his immortal head till vast Olympus reeled. When the pair had thus laid their plans, they parted, Jove to his house, while the goddess quitted the splendor of Olympus and plunged into the depths of the sea. The gods rose from their seats before the coming of their sire. Not one of them dared to remain sitting, but all stood up as he came among them. Then he took his seat, but Juno, when she saw him, knew that he and the old merman's daughter, silver-footed Thetis, had been hatching mischief, so she at once began to upbraid him. Trickster, she cried, which of the gods have you been taking into your counsels now? You are always settling matters in secret behind my back, and have never yet told me. if you could help it, one word of your intentions. Juno, replied the Sire of God's men, you must not expect to be informed of all my counsels. You are my wife, but you would find it hard to understand them. When it is proper for you to hear, there is no one, God or man, who will be told sooner. But when I mean to keep a matter to myself, you must not pry nor ask questions. Dread son of Saturn, answered Juno, what are you talking about? I? Pry and ask questions? Never. I'll let you have your own way in everything. Still, I have a strong misgiving that the old merman's daughter Thetis has been talking you over. For she was with you and had hold of your knees this self-same morning. I believe, therefore, that you have been promising her to give glory to Achilles and to kill much people at the ships of the Achaeans. Wife, said Jove, I can do nothing but you suspect me and find it out. You will take nothing by it, for I shall only dislike you the more, and it will go harder with you. Granted that it is as you say, I mean to have it so. Sit down and hold your tongue as I bid you. For if I once begin to lay my hands about you, though all heaven were on your side and it would profit you nothing. On this Juno was frightened, so she curbed her stubborn will and sat down in silence. But the heavenly beings were disquieted throughout the house of Jove, till the cunning workman Vulcan began to try and pacify his mother Juno. It will be intolerable, said he, if you to fall to wrangling and setting heaven in an uproar about a pack of mortals. If such ill counsels are to prevail, we shall have no pleasure at our banquet. Let me then advise my mother, and she must herself know that it will be better to make friends with my dear father Jove, lest he again scold her and disturb our feast. If the Olympian thunderer wants to hurl us all from our seats, he can do so, for he is far the strongest. So give him fair words, and he will then soon be in a good humor with us. As he spoke, he took a double cup of nectar and placed it in his mother's hand. Cheer up, my dear mother, said he, and make the best of it. I love you dearly, and should be very sorry to see you get a thrashing. However grieved I might be, I could not help you, for there is no standing against Jove. Once before, when I was trying to help you, he caught me by the foot and flung me from the heavenly threshold. All day long, from morn till eve, was I falling, till at sunset I came to ground in the island of Lemnos. And there I lay, with very little life left in me. Still the Cynthians came and tended me. Juno smiled at this, and as she smiled, she took the cup from her son's hand. Then Vulcan drew sweet nectar from the mixing bowl, and served it round among the gods, going from left to right, and the blessed gods laughed out a loud applause as they saw him bustling about the heavenly mansion. Thus through the livelong day to the going down of the sun they feasted, and everyone had his full share, so that all were satisfied. Apollo struck his lyre, and the muses lifted up their sweet voices, calling and answering one another. But when the sun's glorious light had faded, they went home to bed, each in his own abode, which lame Vulcan with consummate skill had fashioned for them. So Jove, the Olympian lord of thunder, hid him to the bed, and which he always slept, and when he had got onto it, he went to sleep with Juno of the golden throne by his side.
Good day, everyone. We are from the group 4. May I introduce you my group mates, Mrs. Jolly Ann Mendoza, Miss Graciel Bagalay, Mr. John Christopher Nolasco, and I'm Alma Reginaldo. So we are here taking this video or a short video to take the answer from given answer from the book of the Iliad.
So may I ask Miss Graciel Bagalay for the first question? This is for you. What causes the conflict between Agamemnon and Hercules? And how does this argument set the tone for the rest of the epic?
So the conflict arises from Agamemnon's unprincipled behavior towards Chryses, a priest of Apollo. Even after Chryses offers a large ransom to Agamemnon in exchange for the release of his daughter, Chryses, having witnessed their complete disregard for the god all along, his name has not even been mentioned before this. This offense sparks Apollo's rage, and he releases a plague upon the Achaean army. So to satisfy Apollo, the Achaeans agreed to return Chryses. Agamemnon has compensation for losing her. Caesar braces Achilles' war prize, and Achilles demands his return, which brings the two both to a wrestle with death. So the first fight sets up the most important theme in the Iliad, the, the catastrophic results of individual pride, wrath, and conflict views of honor, both personal and communal. So the second question will be answered by Ate Jolly. Question number 2. How is the concept of honor or time portrayed in Book 1? Why is honor so important to the Greek heroes? What does Achilles lose when Agamemnon take braces?
Thank you for the question. And this is the answer for the question of Miss Bagalay. Time and honor is most precious to the Greek heroes. It is the reputation and prestige in society achieved by being courageous in war and adhering to norms of society. Lost time is a grave insult and typically has disastrous repercussions. The honor of Achilles is most specifically related to his war spoils because they are representations of his power and prestige that he has with peers. When Agamemnon takes away Achilles' braces, Achilles loses not just a woman, he loses a strong representations of his value and prestige among Achaeans' troops. The shame provokes his fury and compels him to withdraw from the war. And for question number 3 to be answered by Alma Reginaldo, what roles do the gods play in the events of Book 1? How does Apollo's involvement shape the plot? And what does this suggest about the relationship between mortals and gods in Greek thoughts?
Thank you for that question. So, the gods are directly involved in determining the actions and fates of moral heroes. Apollo's actions there are punishment from Agamemnon's hubris has directly caused to the plague that devastated the Achaeans army. So, this satisfies the god's authority to punish the human hubris and uphold morality. The interventions of the gods also justifies the interconnections of human and divine word of Greek philosophy. So, where God's decisions have a great impact on human affairs. The justice, that idea that human actions has divine consequences and human destiny and connected with divine will. So for the question number 4, may I ask John Christopher uh, to answer this question number 4. So my question is, how does Achilles express his anger, and what are the consequences of his withdrawal from battle? Do you think Achilles' reactions is justified? Why or why not?
So thank you for asking me. So for me, Achilles vent his rage through anger, harangue, threat, and finale by storming up in the middle of the battle. So the result is on consequences of the Caenians' line, making them venerable for the Trojans. Whether or not this response is rational is announced issue to Achilles. The personal affront triggers by Agamemnon is unacceptable, but this spontaneous departure puts the whole campaign at the risk, with potential casualties in the hundreds, showing the tension between personal honor and sharing responsibility. So the fifth question is for Miss Graciel Bagalay. So examine Agamemnon's leadership style. What does his behavior toward Achilles, crisis, and the army revealed about his character?
So to answer the question, Agamemnon shows an autocracy and arrogant leadership style. So how he treats courses illustrates a disregard for the religious piety and so to the welfare of his people. The actions he made towards Achilles commonly employed his hubris and showed his unwillingness to honor or admit his mistakes. So his behavior reveals a character that is marked by pride, ego-centeredness, self-interest, self-arrogant, lack of empathy, and finally undermining his leadership. So the next question for the number 6 will be answered by Ate Jolly. So the question is, what is the significance of the plug sent by Apollo, and how does it reflect the moral and religious values of the Greeks?
Thank you for the question, Miss Graciel. To answer number 6, the plague served as divine retribution for Agamemnon's transgression against religious authority and demonstrate the Greeks' belief in the interconnectedness of piety, morality, and the well-being of the community. The plague highlights the importance of respecting the gods and their representatives and the potential consequences of human hubris and disrespect for sacred customs. And for the next questions to be answered by Alma Reynaldo, question number 7, discuss the role of a woman in the book 1. For example, Chrysis, Brises, and Thetis. How are women portrayed and how are they treated by the male character?
So in book 1, most of the female character appear as byproduct of the conflict, treated like possessions that powerful men trade among themselves. So crisis and crisis, for instance, are seen more as things that as individuals with feelings and freedom. So in contrast, Thetis is still intact as a strong divine figure. So using her influence to her son, this contrast highlight the varied role women occupy even within the realm of the gods. So next question is to be answered by John Christopher. So this is the question. How does Thetis responds to Achilles' complaint? What does this scene reveal about the bond between mother and son in Greek epic?
So thank you for that question, Miss Alma. So for me, Thetis is deeply show with her son's situation, illustrating the strong bond between them, where she vows to intervene in the name of Zeus. This demonstrates the depth of his adoration and full support, even at the cost of her connection with other deities. So the ninth question is for Miss Graciel Bagalay. So this is the ninth question. What does Book 1 tell us about the structure and values of ancient Greek society? How are authority, pride, and loyalty treated?
So to answer question number 9, Book 1 reveals a hierarchical world in which those powerful leaders, such as Agamemnon, have all the authority and tend to do as they please based on their own self-interest and pride. Being faithful is important, but it's often challenged by the circumstance between personal honor and obedience. The focus on time illustrates the value of reputation and social status. Pride, however, tends to be a force of destruction, creating wars and destabilizing the community. So the next question will be answered by Ate Jolly. The last question, which is the number 10 question. So the question is, what are the key themes introduced in Book 1 and how might they be developed later in the poem? Consider themes such as wrath, faith, pride, and heroism.
For the book 1, establishes the basis for a number of themes that will hold sway over the remainder of the epic. Central to it is Achilles' anger or the menace at Agamemnon's affront, an anger that will lead to disaster for the Achaeans. The four hands of the fate is present over the actions, the gods directing the mortal heroes ever subtly. Pride, or what we call hubris, now a destructive act, as both Achilles and Agamemnon let their pride to fuel the feud where they are putting their common goals in jeopardy. Heroism is still at the forefront, but the actions of Achilles reveals that even the greatest warriors have flaws that can be destructive. These strands comes together in a narrative in which human desires and divine fiat collide to initiate the effects that will be seen in the subsequent books. Thank you, and we are the group 4 and this is the questions that we answered for Iliad.